Romeo and Juliet. Episode 5. The Real Romeo and Juliet History, Myth, and Mystery. What if I told you that Romeo and Juliet were more than just characters, that they were inspired by real people? Ancient legends and centuries of obsession with forbidden love? In this powerful and deeply immersive episode, we go beyond the final curtain of Shakespeare's tragedy to unearth the hidden truths behind one of the world's most iconic love stories. But first, let's ask you this. Have you ever wondered where Shakespeare found the idea for Romeo and Juliet? Was it his invention, or did he borrow it from the bones of real lovers buried long before him? Share your guess in the comments before we begin. Chapter 1. Long before Shakespeare, the ancient seeds of star-crossed love. Our journey begins not in Renaissance England, but in ancient Greece and Rome. In the Roman myth of Pyramus and Thisbe, we meet two lovers who live in neighboring houses. Their families forbid them to be together, so they communicate through a crack in the wall. They plan a secret meeting, but a tragic misunderstanding leads both to take their own lives. Sound familiar? This tale, retold by the Roman poet Ovid, lays the early foundation of what would eventually become Romeo and Juliet. Question to you. Do you think human emotions, love, fear, jealousy, remain the same across centuries? Drop your thoughts below. Chapter 2. The Italian origins from Verona with love. Fast forward to 15th century Italy. A novella titled Giulietta e Romeo by Luigi Orto captures the world's imagination. Set in Verona, it tells of two noble families, the Montagues and the Capulets, locked in a violent feud. Their children fall in love, and the tragedy unfolds just as we know it. Luigi claims to have based it on real events from the 1300s. In fact, the Montagues and Capulets were real factions in political conflict during Dante. Did you know? Dante even mentions them in the Divine Comedy. But was Orto's story a pure invention, or a romanticized version of events he once heard whispered in Verona? What do you think? Is fiction more powerful when rooted in truth? Chapter 3. The English Connection, Shakespeare's source material. Before Shakespeare touched the tale, it had passed through several hands. In 1562, Arthur Brooke wrote a poem titled The Tragical History of Romeo and Juliet. It was an English translation of an Italian version by Matteo Bandello. Brooke's poem was dark, moralistic, and long, yet it introduced the basic plot that Shakespeare would later refine. Shakespeare didn't invent Romeo and Juliet. He transformed it. He kept the skeleton, but added flesh and soul. Juliet becomes more daring, Romeo more romantic, the nurse more comical, Mercutio more unforgettable. His genius wasn't in creating the plot, it was in elevating the human truth inside it. Question for you. Should we judge an artist by their originality, or by their ability to transform old tales into something new? Chapter 4. Verona today, a city haunted by fiction. In modern Verona, tourists flock to a balcony that supposedly belonged to Juliet. They leave notes, touch the bronze statue, and send letters to Juliet Capulet. But here's the twist: that balcony was added in the 1930s. It's not real. Juliet never lived there. In fact, she never existed at all. Yet people weep at her grave, write to her for advice, and believe in her more deeply than many real historical figures. Question. Why do you think people need places like Juliet's house even if they're not real? Do we love the story more when we can physically touch it? Chapter 5. Themes behind the tragedy, why the story endures. Let's dig deeper into why Romeo and Juliet endures. It's not just the beauty of the language, it's the timeless themes. Love versus hate. Passion is beautiful, but it can be destroyed by inherited hatred. Youth versus age. The young feel deeply, the old act cautiously, the clash is explosive. Fate versus choice. Are the lovers victims of destiny or of their own decisions? Secrecy versus truth. Every lie in the play brings death closer. Shakespeare didn't just tell a love story. He revealed the cost of pride, silence, and time lost. Chapter 6. Real life parallels lovers through time. Did you know about these real-world echoes of Romeo and Juliet? Layla and Majnun, Persian legend. A love so powerful, it drives the man to madness. Tristan and Isolde, Celtic myth. Star-crossed and doomed by potions and politics. Abelard and Heloise, 12th century France, forbidden love between teacher and student, ending in separation and lifelong letters. What does this tell us? That forbidden love isn't just Shakespeare's theme. It's part of the human condition. Comment. Do you know of a love story from your culture that echoes Romeo and Juliet? Share it, we'd love to highlight it in the next episode. Chapter 7. What if? Alternate endings and modern retellings. What if Romeo had waited 5 more minutes? What if Juliet had run away? These questions have inspired thousands of retellings. West Side Story, a musical set in 1950s New York. Romeo plus Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's modern gunslinging version. Letters to Juliet, a film about people writing to the fictional heroine for advice. Even today, books, movies, TV shows echo this tale because it resonates with each new generation. Question. If you could rewrite the ending, what would you change? Let us know in the comments. Chapter 8. The meaning behind the mystery, why Romeo and Juliet matter. At its heart, Romeo and Juliet is not about death. It's about what we choose when the world says no. It's about choosing truth over lies, love over fear, action over silence. Juliet could have obeyed. Romeo could have moved on. The friar could have stayed quiet. But none of them did. And that's what makes them immortal. Even in their mistakes, they reveal something: we all feel the desire to love fully without apology. Final question. What does Romeo and Juliet mean to you personally? Tell us, because your story matters too. Coming next. Episode 6, Juliet's Peaks, the untold power of a young girl's voice. We'll dive into Juliet's strength, intelligence, and emotional depth, and why she may be the most misunderstood heroine in literature. Like, comment, and subscribe if this story moved you. Let's keep the conversation alive, because some love stories never die.